everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Today I am bringing you an Old School April vlog. So I have been reading my first book for Old School April and also have watched some movies already for this vlog. Finished my first book for this vlog, which you saw me reading already, and that was Home Invaded. Follows a couple who have intruders in their home, and then these intruders force the couple to perform torturous acts on each other whilst their two children are asleep upstairs while everything else is happening. This is gory, it's twisted, there's lots happening, it's fast paced. But there is a twist in this that I didn't see coming, I will admit it. It was interesting to see the twist. I enjoyed reading it. It was gory and detailed, but it was a lot of fun. So I think I give this like 3.5, 4 stars. I really enjoyed the characters in this. They weren't well developed because of obviously being a short book, but you can kind of see how this couple live and work together. You kind of find out some darker sides to both of these people in this story, and yeah, it just makes you think that nobody's perfect. No couple, no relationship is perfect, and you got to be careful who you trust and what you do. I don't want to spoil it in case you do pick it up, because it is kind of twisty and interesting to read, and also the outcome of the story as well was different. I mean, the plot twist definitely stood out and I enjoyed it. So I read this in like an hour. It's so quick to get through. My next book that I'm going to pick up is The October Society Season 3. So this is set out in short story formats, in episodes. So I'm guessing there's 6 episodes again, like the other 2 books. So I'm going to read one every day, I think. So yeah, that's the next part of this. I'm going to be reading the first episode of The October Society Season 3. So that's what's coming up. I will film some clips here and there and tell you about the books and the movies that I'm watching and reading. This is so much fun. I really love Old School April. I did it last year and it was incredible, and I'm so excited to really delve into the nostalgic feels. So So I'm just jumping in here to give you a roundout on a couple of the books that I have now finished, and which prompts they fit. So I do have a list right here, and I'm going to tell you about them. would have seen that I finished Home Invaded. This was the first book that I finished for this vlog and Old School April. This isn't an old book, but I thought it would fit some of the prompts anyway. So this met 6 different prompts. So we have Buffy, we had a female author and a female protagonist in this story. We have Tiny Toons, which was an unhinged main character. Freddy's Nightmare, which is a book that could give you nightmares. Scooby-Doo, a story where man is the real monster. New Kids on the Block, a new to you author or genre. This one is a new author for me. And Mini Me, which is to read a novella. So those are the prompts that this book fitted for. This was unhinged and terrifying to read. And then I finished a Goosebumps book, which was Help, We Have Strange Powers, which is part of the Horrorland series. And this fulfilled 8 prompts. And the first one was neon, having neon colours on the cover. And this one had like a neon yellow. So next one is Killer Clowns, which is having clowns or a carnival featured. And in this story, we featured a carnival. The next one is Teen Witch, so having magic or magical elements in the story. And it does feature magic as the main theme. You're In for a Scare, which is just a Goosebumps book, which this was. Monster Squad, any book with any type of monster. Obviously, this one had a monster in it. The Goonies, read a middle grade or YA. It's Goosebumps. Once Upon a Forest, which was to have kids as the main character, and this book does. And then finally we have Nirvana, which is a borrowed book, and I listened to this on Libby from my library, so it was a borrowed book. And then most recently, I need to tell you about the October Society Season 3. I just finished this one today and it broke me. I adored everything about this book. This series has my entire heart. I adore this series so much. So the main story centers around this hollow fire that gathers people to tell creepy stories on the eve of Halloween. And this is told in the static between TV channels. So this is very nostalgic, very 90s. It has a group of kids and they each tell their stories around this campfire, and it's so wholesome. And they go on this journey together. And I adored every second of reading all of these. The third book, I think, rounds out really well. It's an incredible read. The last story really pulled on my heartstrings. If you know, there's a little dog, a little dachshund, which is called Rascal. And in this very last story, we get to learn about where he comes from. And everything gets tied together in a nice bow. And everything makes sense. And it's incredible. This journey you go on with these 6 children was incredible. A quote at the back of this, I'll read you a little bit of it. It kind of symbolizes people who love Halloween and who are obsessed with horror and being that kid growing up. And I really love this. So it says, "There is no reason to fear the dark if you carry Halloween in your heart." And it's incredible. It so totally makes sense for somebody like us who love Halloween, that love the scary and the darkness, but find such warmth in it. And I feel like this series is incredible in that sense. It finds the heart in the darkness, and it's just incredible. And I highly recommend this series to everybody. I think this book has kind of cemented this now as like one of my favorite horror series. Yeah, so with that quick round out of this book, I don't want to give too much away in this because obviously it's the last book in a series, so I can't tell you too much about it, but just know this entire series is incredible. For Old School April, this book fulfilled 8 prompts as well. So we have Time Warp, a book with nostalgic vibes. This is set in the static between TV channels, which is very 90s, early 2000s. We also have Free Willy, which is having an animal companion, and this book has a little Dachshund as a companion, and it's incredible. Then we have Team Witch, which is a book with magical elements. Some of these short stories have magic in them. We also have the overall story that has magic, so that fills that prompt. We have VCR, which is old technology in the story. Like I've said, this one is told in the static between TV channels, which is a piece of old tech. We also talk about Walkmans in this book as well, so it's very old school in technology. It's also halfway to Halloween because this book is set not on Halloween but on the eve of Halloween. We have Once Upon a Forest, having kids as the main characters. Freddy's Nightmares, which is a book that would give you nightmares because of the darkness and the creepy vibes in this. And then Monster Squad, any type of monster. So those are the prompts that this book fulfilled. I loved every second of reading this. Yeah, I cried a little when I finished it because it's just incredible. But yeah, this book has a piece of my heart, and this entire series is just incredible. So those are the books that I have finished so far for this video. I am continuing to read The Angel of Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. I don't know if I've included any reading clips of me yet for that because I did start it before April. It's a chunky book, so it's going to take me a while to get through. I'm about 200 pages in, so I'm literally just halfway through the story. The chapters are really long as well, but hopefully I will finish it at some point soon. I'm not sure if I'm going to include anything for that in this video. With that, I am also going to start a new book, and that's going to be Everything the Darkness Eats by Eric LaRocca. I'm scared to read this. After I put out my video for my April prompts and what I will be reading thanks to Psycho Killer and My Witch's Cauldron, this book was chosen, and some people have said good luck. They didn't enjoy it, and it's made me worry about this book. I didn't enjoy Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by this author, so I'm not hopeful that I'm going to enjoy this either, but I am willing to give it a shot and see how I feel. So yeah, it's really short, so I should finish it this weekend, which would be nice, and then I can tell you all about it. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is the movie that I went to see. I went to see The First Omen. If you haven't seen my Omen vlog, do go check that out as well. I will link it down below and in the cards. I read The Omen and watched the original movie in the lead up to going to see The First Omen. So my thoughts on The Omen, the book, and the movie, the original movie, will be down below. But I went to see The First Omen today, and it was actually so good. I really liked it. It was, in my opinion, kind of better than the original movie. The creepiness of it was just more intense, and the cinematic experience watching this movie was incredible, and the instrumental score of the movie was just incredible. And the overall storyline, I guess, was decent as well. This movie starts obviously as a prequel, and is telling the story about the church and their attempts to bring people back to the church with this new experiment that they're working on. And obviously we know that the Omen follows the Antichrist as a child and the family's journey with that. But the first Omen takes place before this child is handed over to the family. And so we learn where the child comes from, why it's happening, and all that stuff. So I really enjoyed that aspect. It gave The Omen to me more dimension and kind of made the whole story well-rounded. Obviously, we know from watching The Omen and reading it where it comes from, but I feel like the first Omen expands it and gives it more of a standing. So yeah, we follow that story, and the visual effects and the goriness of this movie was decent as well. I really enjoyed that. I do think that it's worth the cinema experience as well. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would highly suggest checking that out. I think that it creates more of a universe, so to speak, for The Omen, and definitely makes it stand out. So I did enjoy watching this movie. I would say though that I think some of the scenes were just too long. Some of it could have been cut down. It didn't have to have all of these extra details. But again, I think movies nowadays are just adding way too much stuff in. So I think this movie could have been slightly shorter. We didn't need such long scenes, but overall, I think everything pulled together and it created this incredible story. And I think that, yeah, I really liked it. I don't know if I will continue with the other movies in the series. I know the second one's like Damien Omen or something. I think that watching the first one and this new release, the prequel, is enough for me. It's definitely worth the watch, so if you do want to check it out, I would highly suggest doing so. But let me know in the comments if you're going to see it or you have seen it, and let me know what you think. For now, I am going to get reading again, and I will check back in with you soon. Just jumping in here at this point to round out this video. It's kind of a disappointing end to this vlog because you would have seen I was picking up Everything the Darkness Eats by Eric LaRocca. And I said I was scared to read it because of my warnings that I received and the fact that I didn't enjoy his other book. It's safe to say this author is not for me. I don't think that this was well written. I don't think this was good in any sense. I also think that the author shows a lot of ableism in this story, and how disabled people are viewed in this is very wrong. I didn't really enjoy reading that. I think there is a tasteful way to discuss disability and avoid ableism, but this book was full of it and it wasn't fun to read. The overall plot was just bonkers. You see how it's good in any sense. It sounds horrible to say because obviously everybody's art is different, but I just can't see any good things in this story. I feel like there wasn't much depth or roundness to this story at all. It just felt like it was written to be written. There's no real messaging, there's no real theming in this. It's just disgusting to be disgusting, and I'm not a fan. It's just disappointing. I think this author does have an audience somewhere, but it's not me. I don't think I will be picking this author up again. And yeah, this book is just horrible. And I don't want to read anything more by this author. Which is disappointing because he makes his books sound incredible and whimsical with all of these wacky titles, but yet the stories just lack substance for me. So with that, I'm going to end this review of this story. So with that, you've seen now that I've finished 4 books. I absolutely adored The October Society. That was my favourite read during this video. I also read Home Invaded, Goosebumps, Help, We Have Strange Powers, then Everything the Darkness Eats. So yeah, it was really fun to read and explore these books. It's been a lot of fun this week so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of Old School April. But thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments what you've been reading this week. I would love to know. And until next time, keep your pages turning and embrace the darkness. Bye!